So here we have two telephones set up on the ADTRAN NetVanta 7100. Both of these phones are currently set up to be queue members. The queue I'm using is 4222 is the extension. The phone on the left is an agent phone, and that represents all of the agent phones that we have. And the phone on the right would be a supervisor's phone. And now we're going to call into the queue on speakerphone so you can hear what's going on.
Thank you for calling the customer service group. The first available agent will be with you shortly.
So our greeting came through, and now we have music or message on hold as we need, and the phone call is being offered up to the agent. If the agent answers the call,
you are answering a queued call.
They get the notification that it's a queued call, and then they're given the call, and of course they could handle it however they choose and then just hang up on it.
Thank you for holding for the customer service group. Please continue to hold. The first available agent will be with you shortly.
This queue is set up so that after 90 seconds the call will roll over to another queue, which will include the manager. If the manager wanted to answer the call from queue right now, they could grab it out of the call out of queue by just pressing the button that's labeled 4222, which represents our queue. The little guy with a phone symbol on there shows that there's somebody waiting in queue.
Thank you for calling. Sorry about the long wait time. The first available company representative will be on the line shortly to help you.
So now we've rolled over to a queue which I've labeled as angry customer, which goes to everybody in the company. And if I answer that call now, I'm going to receive a greeting that tells me that it's that special queue as well.
Angry queue caller on the line.
So a couple things that we saw happen there. First is when the caller calls into the queue, they're greeted with the initial greeting that we record. They are given greetings at intervals as we could set up, which I'll show you in just a second. And then this queue call could roll to another queue, which could involve other members that are not in the primary queue, and could give a different both greeting when the agent goes to pick up the call, as well as alerting differently on the telephone displays. So now we'll take a look in the NetVanta 7100 interface for how we'll go about creating a queue and the voice prompts that we'll need. First we'll launch the 7100 admin, we'll click on voice, and I like to start with audio prompts just to give you a feel for how that works. There's a couple different types of audio prompts we could have in the 7100, and for now we're going to talk about call queue. So if I wanted to record a new one, I could click on new CQ audio prompt, and it gives me a pop-up here. I give it the extension that I'd like to call, name it, and all that. I could type in text here if I want a reminder, but I've done this work already. So these are the recordings that I've made, and I'll utilize these when I do my queue setup here. So now in call queuing, if I want to create a new call queue, I would click on new, give it an extension and a name and a description if I choose to. But let's take a look at this 4222 that I've already created. So here's 4222 customer serve is what I've called it, no description. Once it's created, if I wanted to lock it or disable it later, I can do that if I choose. Here's some important things to look at though. Call distribution. So do I want to ring all the queue members at the same time? Do it through the list top to bottom, or do I want to send the new calls to the most idle agents? So those are my three distribution metrics. If I'd like to, I could define a DQ extension, which means once I have calls in queue, if I want other people to be able to help me with these calls, they could pick up their phone and dial this extension, and it'll peel off the oldest queue call. Real helpful to, if things get busy and you need to jump in, all hands on deck type of situation, people are able to grab those calls. Now maximum queued calls and maximum hold time work together. Either of these metrics, if they're exceeded, will send the call over to this overflow extension, which I have defined as another queue here. I could have different music on hold per queue, right? So I have one player defined, which is just system, but if I had others, I'd be able to give each queue a different message or music on hold if I choose. If I accept digits, I could define another extension here so that if somebody presses a digit, it'll send them to another extension as well. Here's a nice and important feature as well. When a call is served up to an agent, if they have a caller ID phone, I could preface the caller ID with a little piece of information so they know where the call is coming from. That's kind of a nice and important feature to have. Members, it's really easy to select the members for the queue. Click Add Members, select the members from your phone system, and you're ready to go. How long does the call ring to the queue members, and do I give them time in between calls to do other things? So right now it's defined as a couple minutes, but you could change that to be what you'd like. Greeting, so when somebody reaches the queue, so if I've assigned it a DID or a choice off of an auto attendant, when they call in, does it just give them a ring back, or does it serve them up one of the greetings that we've recorded as an entry into the queue? I could also have periodic greetings. So as I have defined here, I have a 30-second and a 60-second greeting that plays on a recurring basis. And then this greeting here is an interesting one. When I answer the queue call as an agent, I could have a greeting that says, this is a queue call that's played to your agent. So they know it differentiates the call from a normal call that they may get. And I could custom record those. So if they belong to customer service or they belong to sales, they could have the right message ready when they answer the call and know what type of customer that they're helping. And lastly, I don't have any queues that are in play right now on this system, but if I did, it would show the status of this queue and what's going on in terms of calls, abandoned, overflow, and longest wait time.